So ArtFight 2026 has officially come to an end, and I thought it would be fun to rank all of the attacks that I did for this year as a little evaluation for the upcoming year and just in general. So this year I was able to do 57 pieces altogether, which went over my goal. My goal was 40 this year, so that was really surprising to me that I was able to even make it over 40, like almost 60. So, alright, how do I want to do this? Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is that disclaimer, you will be hearing a lot of clicking, just ignore, pretend it's not there. Second disclaimer, a lot of eye strain and some gore. The third disclaimer, yes, the third disclaimer. So I have not ranked, I have made 5 little categories on how I'm ranking my art pieces. So if the piece makes it fairly low, it is not on the creator of the character, it's on me and how I drew the character. So I have, again, 5 tiers. The first one, from top to bottom, it is best to worst. So let's go over them. So the first one we have is into the portfolio. So in the portfolio, that's like the biggest achievement art piece can have. Like, you're going in the portfolio. You're like an example that I want people to see, right? The second one, close calls. I would say that close calls are the pieces that, well, they were a close call to be in the portfolio, but something is holding them back. And then we have our middle ground tier. We have pretty solid. My next tier is iffy biffy. So these are the pieces that I am very iffy about. There's a lot that could be improved on, but there is a saving grace to them. Unlike our last tier, which is would not post if it weren't for ArtFight. So we have all of our wonderful tiers. The first one, it's this year for ArtFight, I knew I wanted to do some tweens because most of my pieces were always static, so I thought it'd be a nice change of heart to do some tweens. And my first ArtFight tech was a fairly simple tween, but the struggle I went through this tween was not fun. I also do not like how it turned out. So we're going to start off strong, and we're gonna plop this little guy into the last tier. Moving on, we have our second one. This is also a tween. This tween was, first of all, much more enjoyable to do, and second of all, I believe it looks a lot more animated than the first one. I would say it's pretty solid. We have this one. So before ArtFight started, I was able to do a bunch of thumbnail sketches for the characters that I want to draw, and I will say that this was one of them, and I believe that this one came out very closely to how I envisioned the thumbnail sketch to be, so I really like that. And I think the colors make it pop out with the contrast of it, and the halftones are very nice. The only thing I would say is that it's not really a background, but it's a background. That's going to be my biggest complaint for this year, I would say, is I didn't really do backgrounds, but I did, like, prop backgrounds. So there's that. I think it's a very solid piece. I don't think there's anything wrong with it to say, but I don't believe it's a very strong contender against my other pieces for this year. So I think it's very solid. I think it's very solid. All right. The fourth piece that I did, this is one of the characters that I also had a thumbnail sketch out for, and it looks nothing like the thumbnail sketch because I couldn't draw it correctly. The way that I drew this was I wanted the character to be underwater, so there's a blue tone over it, but it just doesn't look right. The hair is way paler than it is in the reference sheet, and it just looks a little off. It's not my favorite. Honestly, I would say, like, this is probably one of my weakest pieces for this entire year. I do not like how this piece turned out at all, and as a result, it is indeed going into my very, very last year. The next one that I have is, it's a tween as well. This is a tween. This is the first time that I did a background kind of tween, so the character's blinking, but it's a very minimal tween, because most of the moving stuff is from the background. I think that is what drives you in. I think this piece was alright. It took a while, but it's alright. The next one that I have is another tween. Oh my gosh. It's like I'm pulling out my attacks out of like a blind box. I forgot which ones I was doing. So, okay. This one, it's actually fairly simple. I like the idea that I had for it, and the green thing making it look like glass. You're gonna notice that I do this a lot this year for some reason. I don't know why, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think the thing that is holding this piece back is that I did it with airbrush and not my usual lasso tool. I have this one. This is, I would say, my first warning on gore. I have drawn this character. I believe this is the third or fourth time I've drawn this character. I've drawn them before in the past, and every single piece that I have done for this character, I have absolutely hated. So this piece, I actually don't hate, which, first of all, is a huge achievement. And second of all, I think it's really nice. I think the colors bring it together. The only thing is that I wish there was some type of background. I think the background that I gave it isn't bad, but I wish there was more. This character was actually really fun to draw. I was worried that I would struggle on the hair because this is not how I would like usually draw hair for my own characters, but I had fun doing the curls. I think it was really cute. I love the hair for this character. I think the red that I used brought out the blues a lot, so it stands out very strongly. Again, my only complaint is that I wish there was an actual background because the background is very lacking, but I would think this piece is pretty solid for where it stands, so yeah. Alright, moving on. We have another tween. This is one of the tweens that I would say did like fairly decent for being airbrushed. I would say that the only thing that I wish I did was make the text pixel, but I didn't have the font on light motion, so I couldn't do that. But overall, I think this piece is very solid. I really like it. This is the first piece that I did where I tweened the hair follicles, and I think it's cute. Most of the colors and stuff came directly from the character, so it wasn't really my doing with the colors. So this piece, all right. I think the background for this piece is really nice. It adds a lot to it, and you can see that I did the glass thing on the magnifying glass with it coming down. The concept of it is really cute, but I think the character is really flat. I should have stretched them out. I don't know. They look a little off. I should have flipped my canvas and to see what they looked like. This character is very red. I wish I did a little more to separate the red with the eyes and the hair, because it looks like they're meshing into one. I think the green background brings out the character, but they are kind of hard to see, and that is my fault. I think the concept of the card is very cute, but I think just the colors are a little bit off, so just for that, I'm gonna shuffle them into iffy biffy. Moving on, we have our first piece with 2 characters. This was kind of ambitious. I was doing this when I was art block, so I don't know what was wrong with me. I think the piece itself is okay from the outside, but if you look at it very closely, you will see that it's not really a background. It's trying to be one really badly, but I think doing ArtFight this year just made me realize that I cannot do backgrounds, and that's something I should focus on more too. So there's that. I think the 2 characters are fine. It just doesn't really look like it's supposed to be 2 characters. It feels like it could have been a 1 character piece, is how I feel about it. But on a positive note, without me critiquing it, I think it's fine. I think I would put it into it's solid, it's alright. Moving on, we have another fairly simple tween. I think the character design is what carried this piece because there isn't much going on. I don't hate it, but it's just so simple that if it wasn't for ArtFight, I would have never posted this. Like, there was so much more I could have done with it. I really like how this piece turned out, actually. I do wish that I didn't use so much red everywhere, because near around the hair and the attire, it looks like it's all meshing in together, and I wish there was a little more of a separation for that. But overall, I really like the colors on this piece, and I did use some halftones. Instead of using dots, I used lines, which was very nice. You can see that I was very inspired by these halftones because I did it for this character too. This character, when I did the thumbnail sketch for them, they look basically like the thumbnail sketch, and the actual finished piece is pretty much identical. I really like how this turned out. I love the pink and the reddish pink with the green. It brings it out a lot, and I don't know, like, there's just not much need to be said. I really like how this piece turned out. I honestly am going to shuffle into my portfolio. So again, here's my complaint with, I'm doing backgrounds, but it's not really a background because this is one of them. If anything, I like the background a little more than I like the character for this piece. I think the sides being the heart monitor is very clever, and I like the little TVs. The character just feels there. I think they're alright. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh on myself, I'm not sure. But I think it's alright. I think the colors really bring this piece out, and the big composition really brings it out. Compared to my other pieces, it is much more ambitious, I will say. This tween is actually fairly simple because the only thing that is actually tweened is the character and like the little stars, but the background itself is not anything crazy. I think it looks really nice, but just knowing how simple it is to make just prevents it from going any higher. This piece gave me so much trouble for no reason whatsoever, and it also was the first piece to give me like uploading issues. I don't know what happened to it, and despite all of these issues, I didn't realize that the area of the forehead wasn't fully covered somehow, so you can see the background seeping through it, and that just ticks me off. There's nothing else to be said. I remember this piece was when I was hitting my art block limit, so I just want to do something simple. It's not really a background, but it's like, it was a sticker where the character's popping out of the little envelope, and I think it's a very cute concept. The only thing that is holding this piece back is that all of the colors come directly from the character. I was eye-dropping the colors. I wish I used a little more of my own colors, maybe like saturate up a little bit. That's all though. This is a fairly simple tween, but I think what was really nice about it was that I got to experiment a little more with the, like, they're not stickers, but they act like stickers, the little pillows with them rotating. I think it's really nice to do that. And then the swirl in the eyes was also something that I did for the first time, and I really liked it, so I think that draws the piece together fairly well. This piece took me the entire day to do, which is really unlike me because I usually finish ArtFight pieces within like 2 to 3 hours, so this piece took all day. I was trying really hard to keep all of the details for this character because it was a Genshin OC, so I was like, oh, I should just keep all the details. And despite me spending so long on this piece, I still forgot the tiniest details on the hat, and that just, ooh, it makes me really mad. The only thing that is stopping this piece from going up into my portfolio is that I would never want to do something like this again. It looks really nice, but I would never want to do it again, so it was like a 1 in something, so for that, it'll be a close call. I think this piece, the idea of it is very nice. I really like the character design, but it's so simple. There's not much going on. The only thing that I don't like about this piece is how red it is. It's very red. It's like meshing together. But outside of that, I think it's a very cute piece. This piece also took me a ridiculous amount of time to do, but it was because I couldn't read the reference very well, which is my fault. I like the little guys wrapping around them, but I think it's okay for a piece. It's not something I'm very proud of, but I don't hate it, so I would say it's solid. It's pretty there. This piece. So this piece, I based it off of a cover from Teto, because I know the person had in their wish list that they really wanted some of their characters to be drawn as like Vocaloid songs, and I know Teto isn't a Vocaloid, but you get the idea. So I really liked the song and I thought it fit him pretty well, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna draw something like that. My only issue with this piece is one perspective, and then that is mostly it. I did add some of my own little flares with the red little circle going around and the only you flashing behind him. I think it's an alright piece. Honestly, I don't like the way this is tweened. I think it's just the hand, because the character itself is fine, but it's so simple. I really like the colors that this had. The red, the orange, and the purple was very nice. Again, my complaint is that there's not really a background, but there's a background going on. Because outside of the candles, it's just a black background, and that's not really a background. The way that I rendered this character, I don't like at all. I don't know, I had a hard time doing this. It wasn't enjoyable. The only thing that is piecing it together is that it looks fine, so I'm gonna put it into iffy because of that. This piece was interesting. So I used to use this brush like every day of my ArtFight paint life back in 2024, but since the new update, or it's not really new, but since the update of the brush is now being only 4 hours of usage time after one ad, I stopped using it. So I decided, like, yo, let's go back in time and do this. And if anything, I really like how it turned out. I really like the rendering. My only complaint, the same complaint that has been going on these past like 10 pieces, is it's not really a background. It's a background, but it's not really a background, and it's not really full body. So yeah, but honestly, I really like how this turned out, and I would put it in my portfolio. So yeah.
Okay, I don't know how, but I somehow lost the footage for like 5 pieces, so I'm gonna do a really quick lightning round on them by one thing I like and one thing I don't like. So, alright. The first one, I like the whole tween. I think it's very cute. What I dislike about it is that originally I had a much more ambitious goal for it, and I wish I went for that instead. This one. I really like the liner on this piece. I like the blue and I like the pink. The thing that I dislike is the glitch is actually really strong. I did not mean for that to happen. This piece. I really like the changing colors of the flowers, and I don't like how messy the line art is. I didn't think it was that messy when I made it, but now that I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, I don't know why it's so messy. This piece. I really like the colors on how this turned out. I think the green and the orangey brown really complement each other. I think it's really cute. The only thing that I don't like is that I originally planned to add the character's hamster form in there too, but it just wasn't working out, so I didn't do that, but I wish I did. This piece, I like the concept of it, but I don't like how the brush turned out. I tried to use the same brush as I did for this piece, but it wasn't working the same way. And it's really transparent, so you can see the background seeping through the character, and they look like they're a ghost. But it's okay, because I had my redemption arc with this piece. I really like how this piece turned out. I really like the colors of it, and I think the lights changing brings it out a lot. It draws you in. The only thing that I wish I did for this was more of a background, because as you can see, it's not really a background, but it's a background.
This piece gave me such a hard time. It was originally supposed to be a full body, but that did not end up working. I think the clock hands moving is very clever. I think it's animated while still being fairly solid, and it works really nice as like a sticker, like a profile picture, because it is circular. I think it's a close call. I would say it's a very, very close call. I think if it was a full body that still kept the elements, it would have gone into my portfolio, but because it isn't, it will stay as a close call. Alright, this piece. Originally, this piece was supposed to be half body too, but it wasn't working out, so I cropped it up to a headshot. I like the colors. I don't think there's much going on for it though besides colors, and I tried to make this piece as like a magazine, even though I've never seen a magazine in my life. I think it turned out really well. I like the way that I did my watermark this time too, because it was different. I like the concept of it and how it turned out too. I think if I were to show this to my typography professor, she would critique the typography of it, the font and the cutting and the spacing between all of the words. I think they're not even, but outside of that, I really like how it turned out. I had a lot of fun with the circle, and then like I put a letter in the circle like beads with the last one, so I did it again for this piece, and this character just happened to have the right amount of letters in his name for a full rainbow, so I think it's really cute. I think this piece is very solid. I really like how it turned out, and I like the way that I remember the character, so I'm gonna put it in pretty solid. Alright, this piece. I think this character is really cute. The only thing that I would say is that I wish I added more of my originality to it, because this is just how the character looks. And I also wish that I kept her eyes blinking just like a little more still, because it's there for like half a millisecond, but I think the expression that I did for her blink was really cute. This is another song cover that I did. I'm sure this is more recognizable than Only You, because it's a Miku song. The only thing that I wish I did with this piece is perspective, because in the song, in monitoring, why is that so hard to say? In monitoring, Miku is actually very close up to the camera, and she's like fish lens with her eye, but I didn't do that with this one because I struggled a lot with it, so I just put the character a little further. I wish I didn't do that. It looks a lot. I did do the swirly effect with the eyes though, and I think also the eyeball spinning around in a circle helps it a lot. I really like it. I just think that it would have been a lot more dynamic if I did the fish eye, so I'll put it in close call because of that. This piece is very simple. I like the line art for it, but there's not anything going on for it is what I would say. This piece was also supposed to be one of those pieces that would work like a sticker, but the way that I did it, like the character's holding a photo frame, but the way that it's being held is such at a weird angle. I don't like it. And I also did the glass thing again, which is the only thing that's carrying this piece. This was my first time drawing a pony. I think the lightning bolts are very cute, but the way that I drew this pony looks just a little creepy and I don't like it. It looks a little derpy. This piece, I really like how this piece turned out. I really like the flower behind them, and I really like the eyes. I think for next year, I would really like to find a character that has a bunch of eyes, just like render all the eyes, or not render, tween the eyes. I think that'd be really cool. This piece. This is another one that was based off of a Vocaloid cover. This is based off of Love Word Miku, and the figure too, with the little guy spinning around in the pills and the thermometer with that is 38.5 degrees Celsius, as it is in the song. I think this piece is really cute. The only thing that I would say is that I should have made this little guy above the lace and not below the lace, but that's my only complaint. We have under tween. I think the sticker elements I added to it makes this piece pop out a lot more. I think it's really cute. I think I could have done more with it, but I think it's very solid for where it is. And I like the design a lot. I think the pink is really cute. Alright, in case you forgot, the piece I did for this character, I freaking hated, so I redid it. I think this piece is so much better. I think I drew them so much cuter than I did the first time, and she's cute. The only thing, again, is it's not a scene, it's props. It's a prop scene, it's not really a scene, I'm tricking everybody. This piece was interesting. It gave me a hard time. Outside of the rendering, there's not much going on. The pose doesn't make sense. I don't really like it. There's not much rendering anyways to start with. It's just like lineless art is what it looks like. I like the curtains though. The curtains are cute. And the rendering is what is carrying this, but the anatomy is not. So this is my first and only piece of of craft, this ArtFight. I planned to do this before I had an idea to do this before ArtFight started. I was like, it would be such a good gift because this was going to be a gift for the user for their birthday, and I was like, oh, I have to make a plush, like I have to make one because I have one of my OCs, so I have to do one for her OC too. So I was able to, so my deadline for this plush was the 26th because that was her birthday. So that is what I did. The only thing that I don't like is that if you look really closely, you can see red or like pink coming from the character's face, and I think it's because I used red ink on the embroidery paper, which I don't know why it's showing so much because when I did my first one, I used black. It didn't show. I don't know. I don't think I can use red ink anymore because of that. But I think it's cute because it's a plush. But in terms of how the plush turned out, I cannot say it's my favorite. We have this piece. This piece was kind of ambitious because there's a bit going on. We have a galaxy. We got some hoops. We got portals. It was supposed to be based off of Hoopa because Hoopa has the hoops and the portals and travels through space. Or so I believe. I could be Pokemon LARPing. I'll never know. And the user did mention that Hoopa was one of their favorite Pokemon, so I was like, oh, that'd be so cute. So that's what I did. I think the flashing with the little alien guys is really cute. I think it's very solid. I think it's solid. I'm not like crazy rad about it, but I don't hate it. I think it's very solid. This is when I was hitting my ArtFight limit, so I started doing non-human characters. I think this was really cute. I really like this kite. I should do some more Battle for Dream Island OCs because I really like this. I think the airbrushing with the limited different colors is cute. The star is cute. And the kite looks like he's like flying. I think it's cute. We have a warrior cat. So I was the biggest, fattest warrior cat kid ever. I only ever drew cats as a kid, and then I had to learn to draw humans, and now I forgot how to draw cats. So what a coincidence. I think this is very cute. I really like the background. I really like the way that I drew this character. It's very cute. It's just very flat. That's the only thing. Okay, this piece, very solid. I like the little moving stars. that's about it. It's ambitious, there's 2 characters, nothing that I'm crazy proud of, it's solid. This piece, I think the star in the background is cute. The tweening is simple. It's a little lacking. It's iffy. Yeah, it's iffy. Perfect. That's where it's gonna go. Alright, and then my last ArtFight attack of the year. I got really tired. I wanted to do like 2 more. I have them sketched out. I might have to do them off season, but I think this piece is really nice. The piece was supposed to be based off of a bayonet because the character has a bayonet in the Pokemon team, and I was like, ooh, how can I base it off a bayonet? So there's like the yellow zippers and then it's claws in the background. And I think next year I might have to draw some Pokemon because I wasn't that ambitious this year, but next year I think I'm gotta hustle it up. But I think the yellow grounds it and the reddish pink really makes it pop out, and I think it looks really nice overall. So yeah.